Hello English learners, welcome back to the English with Michael YouTube channel. Now I'm on a hike in Cornwall at the moment. It's the southwest of England. It's very sunny, so I'm trying to keep the sun out of my eyes. I wanted to make a Q&A video. So this is question and answer. So I got a lot of questions from you guys over on YouTube and Instagram, and I thought I would answer them in a video today. So I'm going to answer a few questions on this channel, and I'm also going to make a bonus video for Patreon. So if you want to go support what I'm doing on Patreon, the link is in the description. And if you do that, you will be able to watch the bonus video for more questions too. So the first question I've got, I think is very appropriate, and that is, what is it like living in the UK? And now, to be honest, I used to hate it. You know, there's that idiom, the grass is always greener on the other side. When I was younger, I always used to dream of going to other places and escaping the UK. But when I finally did that, I actually got to see that the UK had a lot of good things about it. And hopefully you can see a little bit of what I'm talking about on this walk today. It's very beautiful, and the summers can be really nice because, in my opinion, the temperature is perfect. You're basically never going above 30 degrees Celsius. So I quite like life in the UK. Although, like every country, of course, it does have its problems. But hopefully, for those of you who haven't been, you can come here at some point in the future and see for yourself as well. I had another question from Lydia, who wanted to know what it's like to be a teacher, or actually more specifically, what is the worst thing about being a teacher? And now, I would probably distinguish myself from a teacher because I feel like a teacher is very different. They work in a school, in a classroom, and probably it's much harder than my job, in truth. But maybe I could be like an online tutor or coach. But either way, I would say the worst thing is working with someone who doesn't want to learn. And that's just my personal opinion, but I love to work with students who are really passionate about learning. Maybe they're not passionate about English, but they're passionate about what English can help them do. So maybe English is going to allow them to travel, or to work, or to move abroad, and they're so excited about that. I love working with students who have that passion, but I think the hardest thing is motivating students who just don't care about English, and that's something that I really struggle with, and I try to get better at, but I don't know if it's possible. But that's my answer to that. The next question is, what annoys me in my country and what makes me proud? This is a tough one. When I think about the UK as a whole, there honestly isn't anything that comes to mind that I'm proud of, and that's not to say I'm ashamed. You know, I'm happy to be British. Just nothing comes to mind for some reason. I feel a lot more proud when I think of Cornwall, which is the county where I'm from, and it's just related to the history and the kind of influence on the local culture here, the language. And it's hard to put into words, but maybe it's the same for some of you. Maybe you're more proud of your local area rather than your whole country. Now, I don't know why that is, but that's just how I feel. And I suppose for me, it's because where I'm from, it's quite a rural, as you can see behind me. There's not so many people here. So whenever I do see people from Cornwall on TV, or somehow it seeps into the media, it's always quite impressive because it's quite a small place. So I feel quite proud of that, I suppose. If I were to say what annoys me about my country, this is a huge generalization because everyone's different. There's so many amazing people here. But I would say maybe it's like close-mindedness. So many people here will not learn other languages. Many people here don't understand other cultures. And I know it's probably the same in every country, right? But I meet a lot of people who don't really understand like why you would learn another language or why you would travel to another country, and they don't know much about the world. And again, I'm sure it's the same in many places, especially in the countryside, but that's one thing that annoys me a little bit. I'm not easily annoyed, actually. It doesn't really annoy me, but that's one thing I would like to change anyway. I had another question, and that was, what do I do to lift my mood when I'm feeling down? And this is quite an easy one. It's go for a walk, just like I'm doing now. Go for a walk. Sometimes I listen to a podcast, sometimes I just listen to the wind and the birds, but that really is the best way for me to clear my head and feel happy, and it puts things into perspective. Because when you're sat behind your computer screen or at home, it's very easy to be angry about things, if you go for a walk and see like the beauty around you, whether it's raining or sunny or whatever, I think it's very easy to realize how small a lot of your problems are, or I should say a lot of my problems. They're never as big as they seem. That's for me anyway. So go for a walk, maybe with a podcast. That is always the best way to lift my mood. Someone with the username Cool Situation asked, how did I get into teaching? I know it's quite a simple one, a bit random though. So I didn't really know I wanted to do teaching until I was 21. Before that, I worked as a gardener, like planting things and all that kind of stuff. But I got a little bit bored of it. I couldn't do that for my whole life. You know, it was a bit boring. So I went to travel, I cleared my mind, and I thought about what I really loved to do in life. What was my passion? And one of my big passions was and still is languages, learning languages, using languages, all that kind of stuff. And since I wasn't good enough at any foreign language to teach, I decided to get into English. As I started teaching English more and more, my passion and my love for teaching grew, and now it's become something that I'm always happy to wake up and do. And I was also never really interested in classroom teaching. I think it can be great. I know many people who do that and it's a really good option. But for me personally, I had quite a bad experience at school. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like the way things were taught. So another one of my motivations was to teach online and try to teach in a way that I would have liked. So teach slightly differently, make it hopefully fun, more accessible, and a bit less boring compared to how I experienced it when I was in school. So those are my two motivations to get into teaching. Someone also wanted to know what my opinion of Americans were. What do I think of American people? And I think they're great. Of course, I have nothing really bad to say about them. They're all very different. You know, you can't generalize a whole country, but I haven't actually met so many Americans, to be honest. But every American I have met has been nice, friendly, usually much more outgoing than British people. So it can be a little bit hard at first because I'm a little bit more reserved and they're very open and outgoing. But once I get used to it, it's fine, you know. But again, it's a big generalization. I think Americans are great people. I think generally the relationship between Americans and British is very good. Nothing bad to say, as far as I'm aware. Another question I had was how many languages I'm learning. And at the moment I'm learning 3 languages, although one of them is my main one. So I'm currently learning Japanese, that's my main one, and maybe I'm like intermediate level. I've been here for ages, but I'm slowly progressing. I'm also learning Chinese, which is interesting. It's not my main focus, but I'm trying to make some progress in Chinese Mandarin as well. The other language I recently started is Cornish. And this is not a popular language, but this is the language of my home county of Cornwall, where I am now. And no one really speaks it as a first language, but I decided to learn it to kind of connect to my heritage, my ancestry, and learn a bit about the history as well. And I've been learning for about 130 days so far, and it's been really interesting. It's been a really good experience. So there are 3 languages at the moment, but mainly Japanese. I always get questions as well about like getting a visa to come to the UK and like how can I travel to the UK, and I really don't have a good answer, I'm afraid. I'm not very knowledgeable with this stuff. I don't really know, mainly because I've never needed to get a visa for the UK. So my best advice for those people is talk to someone who is not a native English person, someone who maybe is in your own country who has got a visa to the UK before. And I'm sure they'll know much more about it than me and perhaps other British people as well. But good luck, I hope you can get one and come here at some point. Another question, very simple, was have I ever been to Turkey? Sadly, the answer is no. I would love to one day, but not yet. But I've heard great things about Turkey. I also got quite a few questions on how to get an English accent or a British accent. And I've spoke about this in previous YouTube videos. I would always advise against trying to go for a specific accent and instead developing your own accent. So like you can work on your pronunciation, try to get good pronunciation, and try to make sure you're pronouncing things clearly and correctly. And I believe your accent will develop naturally over time. And I think there's no need to force it. You don't need to try to sound British, because if you do that, it might sound a bit fake and forced. But more kind of specific actionable advice is make sure you're getting the right sounds. So little things like pronouncing the T a bit more stronger than American, like better, not better, but better. Don't pronounce the R's at the end of words, like teacher, better, water. And just kind of focus on the way that we're pronouncing. But I think really general advice is just listen to people speaking the accent you want to learn, and over time you will kind of start to emulate that, copy it, and it will become more natural for you. I got some questions about how to get from intermediate to advanced levels. So maybe people asking this are kind of stuck at the intermediate plateau. And this is where you've been studying for quite some time, and you suddenly found it very difficult to make any progress in your language, in your English. And I am here, and I've been here, and it's really tough, it's really difficult. I think the first step is understanding that this is a thing that people go through, and it's not anything wrong. Most people, or all people, will go through this plateau, and it's very hard to get to that advanced level. I would say for most, kind of, again, it depends on the case, it depends on the person, but general advice is to probably you want to study a bit more. So compared to what you did to get to intermediate level, you might want to study a little bit more to get to an advanced level. So see if there's any way you can put more time into your English. What would happen if you doubled the time that you study? So think about if that's possible and how you could do that. I would also recommend maybe a little bit against using grammar books and that kind of stuff at this stage. Grammar books can be very useful, in my opinion, in the beginner stage. When you get to an intermediate stage, I think more focus on real, authentic practice, such as speaking with people, listening and reading. So do as much reading as you can, as much speaking as you can. And I think if you do a lot of them, even every day, that's going to be a really good way to get to an advanced level. I have spoken about this in the past, about the intermediate plateau, but hopefully that's basic advice that can get most people over that hump, over that plateau. But yeah, I hope you found this video useful though. I'm going to end it here because I ran out of questions. That's all the questions I had for today. I did have some more, to be honest, but this is all the time I've got because I've got to go and have dinner now. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. And if you have any more questions, leave them in the comments and I will make a part 2 where I answer more. And don't forget, if you want to find bonus questions, check out my Patreon page below where you can support me. If you like what I'm doing here, you want to help me upgrade my equipment and microphone, and you get to see some bonus content there as well as join one of my lessons for free. So that's my way of saying thank you for anyone who does want to support me there. But thank you so much, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.